Today's video is sponsored by Sonic Foam Ear Tips. All right, guys. So in today's video, we're gonna check out a very interesting product. This is a true hybrid that can be a pair of wired IEMs, but also a pair of true wireless earbuds because of everything that they're including in the package. The product we're gonna talk about is the JRUMZ XP02. Now this does come in at $250, although on their site and on Amazon, there's a little coupon box you can check off. So right now you can actually pick them up for $200. And yeah, this is right off the bat gonna be a company a lot of people are not familiar with, which kind of makes you leery about spending that kind of money. But I was so super impressed with these that this was just a video like I definitely wanted to do. But before we get into that, we're gonna go ahead and talk about today's sponsor, which is Sonic Foam. If you are a fan of earbuds, which if you watch this channel, you likely are, most earbuds come with silicone ear tips, but a lot of you guys actually prefer foam ear tips. It just gives you a better fit. It's more isolation. It just blocks out a lot more things around you. And Sonic Foam is a company that pretty much has you covered whatever earbuds you have. In fact, on their website, there is a compatibility list that goes through almost every earbud, so you can find the right one that's for the earbud that you have. And it even comes in a nice little hard case, and mine came with a nice handwritten note, which I see is something that they include with every purchase. And I think that's kind of a nice personal touch. So if you're somebody that prefers foam ear tips, I highly recommend Sonic Foam. I will have a link to their site in the description and also to some of their Amazon listings. And again, I'd like to thank Sonic Foam for sponsoring today's video. I am one that likes to use wired IEMs. I feel like I'm always getting the best sound out of IEMs. So having the functionality of that and being able to take them wirelessly, because you know, most phones don't have a headphone jack to be able to use most IEMs wired without having dongles and adapters and all those things. So that really caught my attention. Now, another thing that caught my attention about these is the fact that it's using 10 drivers. I thought it meant that it had 10 drivers in each ear. It doesn't mean that at all. This is one of those I had to do a little bit of digging to find out a lot of the information on. There's just not a whole lot of info on these out there, but it's 5 drivers in each ear. It's a dynamic driver mixed with 4 balanced armature drivers. And the reason I was able to find this out is on the IEM itself, I was able to see that it said XP01. Now that is the actual model of the IEM. And then I was able to find a diagram that kind of showed how the layout of the drivers are inside the IEM. And I could see that it's 1 dynamic driver and then the 4 balanced armature drivers. So there's some different things on their site. The XP01 is the IEM itself. XP02 is the IEM mixed with this wireless bundle. And then the XP03 is like a silicone grip basically to put on this. So there's like different things that they offer, but we're gonna talk about the XP02 bundle. Now, as far as Bluetooth, it is only Bluetooth 5.2, and I see that it's only AAC codec. So there's no high-end codecs here. I would have liked to have seen some aptX playback. I would have liked to have seen LDAC, because I think mixing that with a pair of IEMs kind of makes you feel like you're getting more of a high-end experience. But I didn't have any kind of connection issues. I didn't have any kind of compression in my audio, and it didn't take away from the experience as a whole. Now, as far as the design and the look of these, it does come with a 2-pin cable. The cable on these just look cheap. So from a wired perspective, I really kind of wish they used a different cable. It does come with 3 sets of silicone ear tips. And then as far as the charging cable, it does come with a USB-C cable. You will need that to charge these because the case is not a Qi wireless charging case. The case is very large. It's not as pocketable as, you know, like the AirPods or the Galaxy Buds. I would say that it's almost double, maybe even close to being triple the size of those cases. But I understand why they did this. They have to do this because of the ear hook design. But those hooks not only give you the Bluetooth function, it also gives you your controls. It has physical buttons on both of these. And although it does not give you volume control, it does give you the ability to play, pause, skip your tracks forward, go backwards, and also switch it over into the low latency mode. Now this is huge, especially if you're gonna use these for all different types of media. The hooks are very comfortable. The battery life as a whole on these I feel like is pretty impressive, especially because it's trying to push all of those drivers. On a full charge, you can get about 6 hours on the earbuds and about 48 hours using the case. That's gonna get most people through a work day. You don't have to really worry about charging it that often. I will say though, I did not see any information on fast charging. So do keep in mind it's probably gonna take you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully charge these. Now, another thing I thought was pretty interesting, there is no official IP rating. Now, this is normal on wired IEMs. I don't really recall any IP rating on any wired IEMs. So if you look at it like that as a product first, it's not gonna bother you. But if you're gonna look at it from a wireless perspective, it's gonna be something that you're gonna have to be careful if you're using them outdoors and it starts to rain, or if you're somewhere where you may get splashed on, or even using them at the gym. I think they'll be fine against sweat, but again, there's no official rating to tell you that they're going to be okay. So that may be something that scares some people off, but outside of that, they are comfortable to use in all those situations. The hook definitely keeps them in place. I think they're weighted very well with the controls that are in the back because that also houses the battery. It just balanced everything out, and it really didn't make me feel like I needed to adjust these. I didn't need to take them off. I was able to wear them for the full 6 hours and never have any issues. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, because the Bluetooth adapters do give you mics as well, I think they're just okay here, and this might be because of where the mics are being placed. Because that thing is kind of sitting behind your ear, the microphone is behind your ear. It's not on the actual earbud where it's closer to your mouth, where it kind of has a direct line of sight to your mouth. So I wasn't blown away by the mic quality, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. All right, guys, so here's the mic test using the JRUMZ. Again, it's okay. The mics being placed where they are, I don't think is the best situation for picking up my voice. But I'm outdoors, so you can, possibly hear some of the things around me. But this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call. So now let's talk about the sound. Now the sound honestly is going to be different depending on how you use these. If you're going to use these wired, obviously it's going to depend on if you have them plugged into an amp. But coming in with an impedance level of only 24 ohms, this isn't really one of those pairs that requires an amp just to get really good volume out of. But I'm still always going to recommend that you have a DAC or an amp to get the most out of your IEMs. If you really want to feel the impact of bass, or have the brightness of the treble brought out a little bit more, amps are going to do that over just plugging them straight into whatever phone or tablet that you're using. But I am going to talk about these mainly as a Bluetooth pair of earbuds, because again, that's how I use them most of the time. And on this aspect, they are damn near perfect from a sound quality standpoint, or at least for me. This is not going to be for people looking for that flat or reference style sound. It is vibrant, it is bassy, but the bass has just such good punch to it, and it still is fast. It's not sloppy, it's not congested or muddy. It doesn't give the sound like this overly warm tone or anything like that. And that's because the treble on these are quite bright. Not to the point of being harsh. I didn't have like that sibilant sound with S's or anything like that. I just felt like it balanced out really well with that aggressive low end. And the mids on here were also very impressive. I could go from classical to country to pop to hip hop. And I felt like these could definitely hold their own. I felt like vocalists always stood out. They always sounded up front from whatever instruments and everything was going on. So I didn't have that issue with everything sounding like it was just balled together and just messing up the sound. And again, this may come back to the multiple drivers, because that dynamic driver is handling the low end, while all the balanced armature drivers are handling your mids and your treble. Now, when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, I was also impressed here. I felt like I was in a pretty large room, and I never had any issue with being able to tell where different sounds were coming from. So my overall opinion is this. I think, yes, the price tag is going to scare some people off because it's just not a brand that a lot of people are familiar with, but this is one of those where you're truly paying for the sound quality. I know that you're getting the Bluetooth functionality because of the ear hooks, but really it's just giving you the functionality of being wireless. You don't have features like noise canceling, there's no high-end Bluetooth codecs, there's nothing special here from a features standpoint. But what you are getting is a very good pair of wired IEMs, although the cable kind of sucks on these. But you're also getting one of the best sounding pair of true wireless earbuds you can get. Now, if you don't mind wearing a pair of wireless earbuds that look like hearing aids because of the hook and because of the battery compartment and everything in the back, yeah, this one's just an easy one to recommend for people that are focused on sound quality. But guys, that's my video on the JRUMZ Expression Plus or XP02 model. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.